Hello everybody, welcome to the brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about SpongeBob, as an old topic has come back to life. If you guys don't know this topic, apparently there have been two episodes that have not only been removed from Paramount Plus, but also just banned off the air in general. And people are talking about it again, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it ourselves here. So today we're going to be talking about two episodes, well actually three, but the third one is related to the second one we're going to talk about. First we're going to talk about the episode Midlave Crustacean. The episode is apparently missing from the Paramount Plus selection of SpongeBob episodes. And not only that, but it's also missing from Amazon, I believe, where you can't even purchase the episode itself anymore. And on Amazon, along with its sister episode, the snail race. SpongeBob episodes are usually paired in twos, and on Paramount the second episode, the snail race, is actually like watchable, but for some reason on like Amazon you can't even buy the snail race episode. So the reason the Midlife Crustacean episode was removed was because of one of the little parts of the episode included a panty raid, and I'm going to explain this in a minute, but pretty much the generic summary of the episode. Mr. Krabs is going through a midlife crisis. He hears SpongeBob and Patrick are going out for a night, so he decides to try and tag along. They do a bunch of boring and lame stuff like play Dungeons and Dragons, go to the dentist, and go to the fucking library. And then Mr. Krabs is like, you guys are lame. And then Patrick's iconic line of, you're gonna miss the panty raid comes up. They do a panty raid, but the joke is that the panty raid is on Mr. Krabs' mother, and then Mr. Krabs' mother grounds him for the night. I feel like the fact that they took this episode off the air is just kind of stupid. Is removing an episode for a panty raid joke really necessary? It's a fucking joke. Nobody's done a panty raid since like the fucking 1980s in camp or whatever. And the joke wasn't even the panty raid itself, it was the result of the panty raid, being that it was Mr. Krabs' mother who was the victim of this case. But again, who gives a shit? It's a fucking panty raid. It's harmless fucking joke on a kid's show. I don't think kids saw this and said, let's go do a panty raid ourselves, fellas, it'll be fun. I don't know why the world we live in has turned into a world where we just can't accept simple jokes anymore, but it's starting to get a little ridiculous here. The weird thing to me is what a representative of Nickelodeon said. I'm reading this IGN article that's talking about it, and apparently the representative from Nickelodeon said that it was taken down because some of the story elements were not appropriate for children. But then they asked, why not just put like a content warning on the front of the episode before it starts, like some other things do. But then we get, they literally say, no, there's no comment. They just say no comment. They refuse to answer for some reason. And to be honest, I don't know why. Why wouldn't they respond to that? If they're so adamant about taking the show off, why not give us the reason other than it's not appropriate for children? What would be so bad about keeping the episode on with the content warning? Not that it needs a content warning, because again, I don't really see the big problem here of a simple fucking ladies' underwear joke. So the next episode we're going to talk about is the episode Quarantine Crab. Now this episode actually has not aired at all in the US, but has aired in other countries. The reason that the episode hasn't even aired in general is because it has a quarantine themed. Pretty much the synopsis of this episode is that apparently the health inspector has detected that there is an illness in there, and they have to quarantine in the Krusty Krab. But then it turns out there's no illness, but they all start turning on each other because like they're going crazy or something. Now this is a more recent episode. I think this was supposed to come out like in the middle of 2020. But even still, I don't really see why it was just taken off. Yeah, it was during the time of quarantine, and the timing might have been a little poor, but it doesn't really matter. So what if it has a quarantine theme? What's the fucking problem? Now, the choice of not airing it is a little weirder to me. When we're going to talk about this third episode that I said that we're going to mention, it's the Fungus Among Us episode. This episode also has like a quarantine/illness kind of theme to it as well. But I've done research and I haven't seen anything about it being taken off the air or taken off of streaming services or anything like that. And you'll see images of why I feel like it's just weird, and you see that, like, you see this episode that's still on the air, but then you talk about another episode that was taken off for similar reasons. It's just a little weird to me. So in this episode, SpongeBob is infected with a fungus called the ick, and it's spreading really fast, but he doesn't really care, and he just wants to go to work and whatever. But the fungus is spreading throughout his body. It just started as a little thing on his head, and now it's going all over his arms and his nose. It spreads to Squidward, but you know, he gets brought back home by the frickin' SWAT team or whatever, and they literally quarantine in his house. I shit you not. You can see here his house is in a complete quarantine, and even the inside is a quarantine too, where he's in a little like safety bubble. But it's already started to spread to people in the Krusty Krab, and then it gets resolved because Gary's a bottom feeder and they eat fungus or whatever. And that's pretty much the episode itself. Now, again, I find it weird that this episode that is as well related to quarantine and illness isn't really taken off the air. And this isn't an invite to say, go take this off the air, Nickelodeon, because I don't really give a shit, and a lot of people don't either. I just don't see what constitutes the Fungus Among Us episode staying up and the Quarantine Crab not being aired. And I've seen the Quarantine Crab episode. Nobody actually gets sick in the episode. Again, I said this before, but at the end, the health inspector says, oh, it turns out I was reading it wrong and nobody's sick. So the whole episode premise was like a fucking nothing burger. But then you have the Fungus Among Us episode with an actual, like, illness that's spreading through, like, well, not through Bikini Bottom, but it's spreading to the Krusty Krab and to all the people in it. Literally, you see fucking SpongeBob. Look at this picture. SpongeBob is fucking gross, and he is, like, a fucking giant, like, fungus monster now. Like, there's an actual illness that is a threat in the episode. And I would say this one is worse than the Quarantine Crab episode. I don't know why everybody in the world is just becoming a bunch of sensitive fucking babies, and they can't take anything, and anything that just deals with something that they might not like in the slightest bit just has to be fucking ruined for everybody else. The world is just going super fucking soft, and I'm not. This isn't pertaining to this whole like topic in general. I'm talking about everything that goes on, all that stupid shit with cancel culture. You know, people not liking things anymore that just out of the fucking blue. Like, it's so annoying to me. Especially when they make things problems now that weren't problems in the past. Like if they really gave a shit about that stupid panty episode from SpongeBob, they would have taken it down much sooner to the release date than like 2018 when it stopped going on the air. But I bet the reason this was taken down because some little butt-fucking retards on Twitter were crying about, oh, they're doing a petty raid, that's sexist, or some stupid crap like that. I can guarantee that the people that were complaining were not the main demographic of the show, but the fucking parents and older people that it's not intended for. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I don't see the problem with removing these episodes. So what? It's a fucking... they do a panty raid. That's not the whole problem. It's a fucking joke, and it's pretty clear that it's a joke in the episode. And then the whole quarantine thing, like, who gives a shit? So what if it's a fucking poor timing? It's a SpongeBob episode. Who cares? Kids don't give a shit about all the crap that people are spewing about. The only thing they care about is when the next episode of SpongeBob is coming out, not what the fuck is going on in the episode. Do you think kids really got angry with the panty raid? No, they probably fucking laughed their ass off because it was a funny part because they were raiding Mr. Krabs' mother. But I'm done here now. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and the bell and all that jazz. Go to my Twitch and Twitter, links in the description below. And follow me there, and yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. Goodbye, everybody. I said episode again, I'm an idiot.